Here we go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Rex Smith is here. We are here wrapping up Northeast Comic-Con and Collectible Show in Boxborough, Massachusetts.
Or it's wrapping us up. We've been working on this for 30 minutes because it's like it's a comedy sketch. Only we're not laughing. We are laughing.
But it's the comedy of life. That's what it really comes down to.
It's the comic. Yeah, it's the comic side of life.
So we're here, like I said, Comic-Con, wrapping it up. Very happy, honored again to be here with Rex. We were here for the music event back in April, and we're back once again. Rex is, for those watching, Rex has done it all: Broadway, rock and roll, movies, television, you name it.
Superhero, primetime, daytime Broadway movie star,
soap opera.
Yeah,
soap opera.
That's daytime.
Oh, so yeah, so incredible career.
And you've been my ringmaster when you bring me out of my show.
I've done that intro.
Hey, here he is, Rex Smith.
And the music starts. But phenomenal. And that show, an amazing show. If you ever get to see Confessions of a Teen Idol, make sure you get to see that. It goes through the entire career. Solid Gold, The Love Boat. Who can't love that? But I got to ask you, Rex, what is like your secret to success? You've done it all.
Curiosity. I've always been curious. What else can I do? You know, I have been fortunate enough to reach a very high level on Broadway and television and movies, and I mean music. I mean, I've got a gold and platinum at home. I signed a 6-album deal with Columbia when I was 20. I was managed by Aerosmith's managers, being groomed to be the next Aerosmith, really, and toured for 2 years, opening for Ted Nugent. Played Leonard Skinner. Had the plane crash. We were on tour together. My band was called Rex. You can't even find it on the internet. It's crazy. 2 6-month tours, 77, 78. But I have the albums. I invite you to. In Europe, they put together an album set called Rock and Roll Dream of all my 6 albums, and you can go on Amazon or whatever. You can go whatever kind of playlist, and you can at least sample some of the songs and see the arc of the work that I did. But what was the question?
Well, we were talking about curiosity, the secret to your success. And again, when you were younger, I know you were sharing with us last night. You grew up you were four boys.
Yeah,
right?
Youngest of 4.
Youngest of 4 boys. Was this your dream growing up, that you were going to become a singer?
Well, actor? First it was to be James Bond, but I was fortunate enough when I had that summer when I was the #1 artist at Columbia above Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. It's a stat. It's like a baseball stat. My life was, I was the most popular young man from New York to Tokyo. And I was living in the presidential suites around the world. And it really was the James Bond life. Just didn't have the Walther PPK. I didn't have the chemise shoulder holster, but I had everything else. And it was a wonderful time for a 23, 24-year-old young man to be the vision of ordure in so many women's hearts and minds and souls.
Yeah, and in your show, you do talk about, and I have some young people that watch this. You talk about fame really being like a great drug, like, or not the dangerous drug. I'm sorry, not the great drug, the dangerous drug.
I mean, so many, I just naming. I don't want to name a bunch of people, but
we all know, yeah,
the people that have fallen to the wayside because, the story. I did 650 shows of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Sunset Boulevard with Diane Carroll, and the story of that is Norma Desmond, her addiction to fame, the spotlight. I've never been. I love the responsibility and the athleticism required to be on stage and bring life to a show. It's one of the greatest experiences you can ever have. And but all fame is fleeting. My father told me that, and I live by that. I'm 67 now, and I look back on this arc, and it was an experience that even in its day, it would be nearly impossible to replicate, to go from rock and roll through to teen idol to Broadway to hosting TV shows to original Daredevil and
Yeah.
StreetHawk. And I was doing a Comic-Con years ago. Dang it, what's the actor's name? Now I can't remember it. His daughter is in Jurassic Park. Come on, who's that?
Bruce Stern.
Bruce Stern, yeah. Bruce Stern was my next door neighbor
Mhm.
for 3 days. And the last day he says, will you sign a picture of me? I go, you gotta be kidding me. You shot John Wayne. And he goes, I've never known nobody that's done the arc of what you've achieved. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying I was astounded that that Bruce Stern admired my journey. So, like I say, curiosity is I think, the best arrow in your quiver if you want to be an artist.
Mhm. And with that artist, and again, you've had this incredible journey. It also comes with a great responsibility too.
Well, here's where the responsibility comes. Is the most important part of a performer's life is how they treat their life when they're not on stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest thing. That's where the drugs and drink comes in for so many. Not the same thing. It's an attempt to it's more medicine to try and cope, right? Mm-hmm. Because it is a phenomenal experience for a human being. But I always looked at it through the prism of an athletic endeavor, which for me was singing for me and everything. It's all about breathing and such. And I found that it was always healthy for me to think outside of the box I'm in, to not become too wrapped up in it. That believe me, it's been a lark. It's been the ultimate universal tour to do so many things. And but the most important thing is I have 5, pretty much almost 18 is the youngest, but 5 children and 2 grandchildren. And somehow because as much energy and as much of myself I poured into any performance I did 10 times as much for my time with my children. And that's the greatest, most important part of my life. It is. I told my daughter, my youngest daughter, I just told her this year, I said, of all the things I've done, people go, oh, all the things you've done. I said, the most important thing and the most rewarding is being your father. That's in life. And that is, I'm not saying that's for everybody, whatever, but it certainly is a good start. I'll tell you that, because in the end, what is there but the people you love? And but the exhilaration of the adrenal push that I've enjoyed, an opening night on Broadway is comparable. I think it's horrific on one side, but to World War I, they blow the whistle and you came out of the trenches and there was machine gun nests mowing them down. I always felt that they should do a study and put EKG on everybody on an opening night and just record that and watch it spike. It'll spike. It'll break the meter. And if one person started running for the stage door exit, I think half the cast would follow, right? So it's fight or flight in its most supreme form. And out of it comes, after working and soaking through soaking wet of exertion and everything, in that dressing room shower, it's no different than a New York Yankee after a grand slam and hitting the showers afterwards. And
it's all about that performance.
Pound those buds, as in Budweiser's, like they said in Ball 4. We're in this game and go pound those buds.
But yeah, absolutely. And it just is such an art. I mean, like you mentioned, baseball players and theater performers, there is no redo. No. Once you're out there.
Well, as in life too. I mean,
it's true.
Life is the greatest art form of them all. And I'm just thinking of this as this just came to me. If you treat your life as in the same application that you do on an opening night, if you treat every day like an opening night, you're going to be much more successful at life. Oh. And life is not to waste a day of it. If I had the days back that I spent needlessly worrying, I'd have a quarter more years on my life, probably. Maybe on just needless worry. And it is, I just formulated that as we're talking here. I'm always looking for the next idea or something to hang my hat on, but I've never heard anybody say, but I think it's a great thing for you, regardless if you're in the arts or mathematics or whatever you're in, apply yourself like it's the best performance you can give in your day. And if you're giving a great performance, you're going to have a great audience. And that audience is going to be the people around you, the people that you meet, and how you apply yourself. That's a magnificent. It is a magnificent idea. It's a magnificent thing. I think anybody can understand. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That it's
it's deep.
Yeah, your performance. You're performing all the time anyway. As human beings, we perform all the time.
Yeah.
You meet somebody, you put your hand out, you shake the hand. It's all part of the performance. Make your performance
Going for a job, going for a date, whatever.
Go for the Oscar. Go for the thing. I mean, not being fake, but the people. When you get an Oscar, you go, that performance is so real. I felt I was, he or she was portraying me the way I think. And that is, if you have that empathy and such, and you exude that, you're going to be quite successful.
Wow. That's very powerful.
Okay, thank you very much for this.
No,
thank you. You're the cheapest therapy I've ever had.
No, but I mean, that really is great. And I mean, you talk in that, you talk that the last song you sing in your performance is the greatest moment. And you show all those great moments from your life, and you end with your family, know, so that's like going right back to what you said.
And it always comes back to that, because none of us were spontaneously appeared on this earth. It was all family behind it anyway. And I often wonder, at the bus station or something like that, looking at characters and stuff and seeing people that are really on the street. I mean, like living on the street. And I go, that's somebody's son or daughter.
Yeah.
Where was the mother? What is that journey? And that journey is, we all come out. I mean, you can say it's not equal because, somebody called it the silver spoon and that, but basically we all come out the same. Yeah. We all just, we start. And there is, I think some of the most successful people, and I know for a fact, my son, the hardest beginning, I mean, we were talking about roses earlier. Okay, we both grow roses, and I compare roses. I really do care about. I have really grown into this part of my life. It's one of the things I love, and it is like having a small vineyard, because if you look at just rose bushes, they look just like a vineyard. They have the gnarly roots and the branches, and the best wine are vineyards where the vine has struggled. Those are the best wines. You get just a table grape, and it's just mass produced, and it's like they all taste the same. It's just a bunch of sugar.
Yeah.
But you get that struggle, and that's the one you're paying $500 a bottle for. And so the struggling rose, that, and in life, I do believe this: people that are too coddled and protect them from any kind of stress. Stress is where you learn things. And I have to say, growing up in the South, the bullies I had, I have to thank them, because they were the red flag that showed me when I was young that the world's not going to be all safe. It's not going to be all harmonious. I've got to learn how to handle that, protect myself, work around it, through it, whatever I need to do. And that's an important one too. Because if you live too much going, being triggered is that's the first sign of either fight or flight or whatever. It's many things, but you need those. You can't live in a bubble. If you live in a bubble, you're just going to be bubble boy or bubble girl. Yeah. It's
a growing experience.
You have to struggle. Struggle is great. And that's what youth is for, because when I went to New York, I lived on 2 slices of pizza a day, 1 slice of Sicilian, which was thick, the other for dinner, and every other day I would eat half a chicken at a place called Chick Terrier. It was like $3.50 for a half chicken, and I could tell that protein, I needed it. I mean, it was gone before I finished chewing, and my body had already absorbed it. But I remember that, because as I am now, I always go, people go, oh, you've been rich, you've been this. I go, yeah, but my refrigerator I've always had a full refrigerator. That's what I call, like, as long as I've always gone, I've never had an empty fridge. So my life, I can't complain. And the struggles through it and the ups and downs, believe me, all these, from all of these successful things that occurred in my life, the in-betweens, there's lots of struggle in it.
It's the
Waiting
ups
for
and
the
downs.
thing, the phone to ring, the this, that, a collapsed marriage, or this, or that, holding things together with children and all that. But, I am here sharing with young people that having made such an arduous journey with the terrific highs and stuff, but you climb a mountain, then you got to go down it to climb the next one, right?
Yeah.
You don't go mountaintop to mountaintop. And I'm just full of all these things right now. I'm sorry, but I'm
Life's
trying to
life's a
imbue,
part of highs and lows.
in a short time, I'm trying to imbue upon, get excited about the struggle. Get excited about, I have to push through this to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. Some guy, a guy panning for gold. I've been out here for 20 years, and then he hits the mother lode. But it doesn't happen without that struggle and that work. So, I'm not saying welcome it and revel in your struggle, but trust me, learn from it. And it's put there in life for self-education. Your self-education is more important than what you can learn by rote. You got to learn it personally. And the mistakes you make is where you learn and you become smarter.
Yeah.
Right. I just heard Dr. Phil saying that same thing. So he was on, the guy that wears the headphones, that used to do Survivor or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
I
can't
the guy. You know what I'm talking about. And Dr. Phil was on. He's going, the problem today is nobody faces, your adversaries, your problems, the things you run into. You need those. That educates you and makes you a person.
Yeah.
And people are being so protected now, they're helpless because the strength is, like when I grew up, there was no seatbelts in cars. There was no this. You learned, don't stick anything bigger than your thumb in your ear. Don't drink Clorox. These things you were taught them.
Yeah.
And I think parents, some of 4 boys, you had 4 boys, you were going, well, there's going to be one compound fracture. That was covered. Another's going to bust his teeth out. That happened. I mean, that was just part of the thing. And we live in a world now, everybody's going, everybody's a winner and everybody's a this and that. And don't look out, but you be sure the thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm sounding like a grandfather to young people.
But you have the life experience. You've been in the business, and I mean, again, you've been in all facets of the business too. So you've learned these things. So for people who want to pursue this career, the same kind of, and I mean, your career has spanned over so many things, but even just one part of your career, these are things that people need to know.
I'll share with you about learning struggles, and this goes back to the bullies I had that taught me the thing.
Yeah.
When I was just before I got signed to Columbia, I was up in New York. I was a huge draw in Florida in my band days, and these club owners offered for me to come down. They had bought a recording studio. Said you can come down and make some demos and do some concerts. Anyway, they ultimately. I made my demo, the one, several demos, and I did concerts that doing quite well. And they told me that I was either going to have to sign a lifetime contract for a piece of me. They had 1 week to think it over, or sign it, or they were going to kill me. And this is a true story. And I went. I won't tell the whole story, but I will. The short version is, a week later, I went to the DA before I was supposed to go sign this contract. And I told the district attorney the whole story. And he said, we've been trying to get these people forever. We'll put you in witness protection. I said, witness protection? I want to be a rock star. I don't want to change my name and go work at a 7-Eleven in Des Moines. And I went that night, and they were there. And they said, they're all smug. And they go, well, I guess you came here to sign. I said, well, I've been talking to my lawyer. And they started laughing. And they said, who's your lawyer? I said, the DA. And they all got up, and 20 minutes, I'm standing in the backyard by a pool going, that's it. They're going to cut me up, and that's the end of me. And they came out and they said, you've been nothing but a pain. We want you out of town. I said, yeah, well, I want the tapes. And they're like, you got it. And then I said, I want $500. And then the guy goes through like this. I thought he was going to pull out a gun. He pulled out a bunch of money, threw like $500 at my feet. And then one of those moments when your brain speaks before you even know it, I heard myself say, and I want a first-class plane ticket to New York. And then the guy came at me, and the other guys were holding back. He's going, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. But another guy saw his hand go. I thought, he's pulling out a gun. He pulled out money, threw more money at me. I picked up the money and backed up out the door. And the next day, I was flying back to New York with the cassette that got me signed to Columbia Records with $500 in my pocket. And believe me, that negotiation taught me a lot about negotiation.
Yeah.
There are people go like, oh, I don't know how to negotiate. Well, when it's your life and the thing, and I had no place to go except the district attorney. And that's a rock and roll story, but that is, I don't want anybody to go through that. But without what I had to go through in my youth of what used to be, peer pressure and stuff, and I was a new kid at school and stuff like that, and holding my own, that came into good stead. And had I not had it, it was like being inoculated. It was like getting your shot. So don't be so sensitive, going like, I'm sensitive to the things. Somebody, take it, stand up to it and chin up on the thing. Don't that, because just weakening yourself, you're just weakening. You need a good immune system. So anyway, I'm sorry to go long on that, but it needs to be said.
That's a great story, though.
It needs to be said because you have to build your immune system for what life is going to present you. Because life is not going to be easy. It's not. Yeah. You're a father. It's not easy. You not only that, you live with the thing. Please let my child be safe for tonight and tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely.
So anyway,
absolutely. No, strong words.
We'll keep it light now.
Yes. Well, let's move on to something quickly light, and then we're going to wrap up. Superheroes, because and again, you are a superhero. Because listen to that story. I mean, in real life too. StreetHawk and Daredevil.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Daredevil. Right. You were the first actor to portray Daredevil in any Marvel television movie.
Right. I am part of the original Marvel universe. I'm actually like Pluto. They don't want to admit I'm there, but I was hired by Stan Lee, and this was in the day before Disney owned it and everything. And it was Stan's baby. So it was, Bill Bixby directing, who was was the star of the show. It was a backdoor pilot for a TV series. And as beautifully received as it was NBC, and ABC bought the show and shelved it because they had the Flash coming out, and that killed the series. But there again, once again, because I'd been inoculated and I'd faced tough times, take it, move forward. Don't stay on the balls of your feet. Don't get on your heels. And I just kept moving to push through that to the next thing. StreetHawk, which I just was magnificent, the Ultimate Universal Tour. I raced motorcycles when I was young. And so to become the only superhero motorcycle show ever made, and I don't know if there'll ever be another one.
That's a show that could be ripe for a reboot at some point.
Or a theatrical film. Sure. But it was just a magnificent, and it was, you got to be a combination of cocky and everything else that my rock and roll and everything, it all came to good stead in that thing of how I went to work every day. Because when you're doing a series of stuff, not only are you facing the camera, you're facing an entire crew.
Yeah.
And that crew, if you don't have that crew on your side, you can be a lonely person. And there's people that, their egos get in the way and they get lonelier and lonelier or whatever, and lock themselves away and such. And albeit do great performances. But I, like, for example, the focus puller, there's a guy with a Panavision camera, take the tape, and he'd come up and measure you to there so the guy could set the focus. And he was the son of a very powerful big director. So he had a lot of weight. He was about my age, but he was always like pulling the thing and give me a little bit in the nose or something like that. And then one time on the thing, and everything got quiet. I said, what are you doing with this? What is your problem? You're going to treat with mutual respect. That's what this whole place is. And you're on your own branch trying to do this. Yeah. So you want to come around, and you turn around just like one of those cowboy movies, turn around to be a good friend. But it took that stand up to it. And it's called earning respect. I didn't write that expression, but you earn it. I'm just saying, earn everything in your life. Earn it all.
Pay your dues.
And own it. You own it. Don't expect somebody else to take responsibility for it. You own it. If somebody is trying to own you, then you move around it, under, over it, or through it, and keep owning your life and being responsible for your life. I'm really imbued at this point in my life to speak to young people and try and lift them up. I'm not talking down to anybody, but I'm telling you, I feel like I'm on the verge of, I want to take my show to universities. I want to talk to impart a skill set, and also how much potential there is in the world. Even now, I don't know.
Yeah.
There is more than just being an influencer doing
Absolutely.
how to paint your eyebrows to look like a Kardashian. There's much more.
Absolutely. So Rex, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Inspirational words.
I hope so.
Again, such a pleasure to be back here with you again. Wonderful to see
It's
you.
always
Wonderful
good.
to see the
It's
show.
always good.
For people watching, where can they best find you on social media if they want to?
Real Rex
reach out?
Smith on all uppercase on Instagram. No, Real Rex Smith. What is it? Well, Facebook is Real Rex Smith. Real Rex Smith, and then Instagram is same thing, Real Rex Smith. So either or, but Facebook is where I do most stuff. I know it's probably not generationally, it seems like an old person's thing, but it's just an easy post, and I really do it. Once again, I don't do it for spotlight or anything. I do just to share with people. It's just to share, and it's
You're singing on there. You're doing all these.
Yeah,
great things,
so. I cook. I do a lot.
Yeah.
Of stuff.
So check it out. And again, Rex, thank you so much for
Oh yeah,
doing
my
this.
pleasure.
We'll see you all real soon. Have a good one and have a happy holiday.